शो में आपका स्वागत है। मेरा नाम है राजीव कुमार बजाज and as promised we come to you an exclusive from Mr. Dev Anand's residence at Pali Hill, the star of the show, the star of, shall we say, can't really say 2 centuries, can we? But the one man who's gone through 1 millennium to another without having lost any of his appeal, without having lost any of his energy, in fact having gained more and more and more of all that he had earlier. The one truly dapper, truly handsome, truly cool star, Dev Anand himself, right here with us.
Thank you.
Dev साहब, बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया आपका कि आपने हमें इजाजत दी कि हम लोग यहाँ पर आए.
I'm grateful that you were here in my studio to interview me. Yeah, it's been long overdue. Yeah,
that's right. We've been talking about it for some time, but we haven't really gotten around to doing it.
But I think it's a huge city and there are a lot of channels. That's why probably. Now, since my film is being released, that's why you're here, Mr. Prime Minister.
That's right. And so, Mr. Prime Minister comes out on the 29th. Is it?
The world premiere. The first audience to see it is in Ahmedabad on the 29th for the simple reason कि मैंने शूटिंग ही बचाओ में की थी. बचाओ कच्छ में है, कच्छ गुजरात में है, और एक इमोशनल सी बात थी कि अगर कोई ऑडियंस पहले देखेगी तो गुजरात की ऑडियंस देखेगी.
देव साहब, the story of Mr. Prime Minister is based on, starts with the Bhuj earthquake, is it?
It doesn't start with Bhuj earthquake. Bhuj earthquake is there. The period of the story is 20 days. Elections are announced 2004 and the results come in and the leading man, Mr. Prime Minister, who is Mr. Prime Minister Wise in the movie, he happens to be there. Why and how is the movie. When the elections took place and we had the hung parliament, we all remember that.
That's right.
And the hung parliament threw a lot of uncertainties. Nobody knew what sort of coalitions would work and who the Prime Minister would be. And an idea grew, an idea flashed across my mind, and I went across to Bachao. Bachao was the place where the maximum impact of the earthquake was. So I needed that place, and I went there and shot the film. On location. That's why the main premiere is there as well. And tremendous participation of the people, tremendous emotional participation of people in Bachao.
And we have a lot of regulars in the film. We have Mr. Prem Chopra acting with you all over again.
He's playing a politician.
That's right. And you have Milind Gunaji, you have Boman Irani, you have Mohan Joshi. You also have Tara Sharma.
I did the casting accordingly. Good actors, all good performers. And then we have Tara Sharma, and then we have Boman Irani. And I'm playing the main Mr. Prime Minister. And then the whole township of Bachao is participating in the picture.
And we have Papida working with you.
Yes, he's given some good tunes, good notes, and I've done the rap for the first time, explaining.
You've done rap for the first time.
Defining Mr. Prime Minister, who he is, what he is, where does he come from,
this is really
and why he's there. So I've done the rap in both the versions, English and Hindi. The English version is in the international for the international audience, and Hindi for the Indian audience. But in some theatres, wherever they want to see the English rap, they're most welcome.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. But why are we not surprised at all? I'm not surprised at all that tomorrow this man might just pick up a heavy metal guitar and might do a Mark Knopfler turn right in front of everybody. I mean, Dire Straits here.
I'm an actor.
We've already got Eminem.
I'm an actor. I put myself into the shoes of the character I portray. Yeah.
But why did you rap in this film? Is it because of the role?
There's nobody else who could do this because I've written the story, I've written the character, I portrayed it, and I thought I was the right man. And I discovered myself that I could write a little bit of poetry as well. It's good.
Dev साहब, इसी तरीके से पहले एक वॉरेन बीटी की फिल्म आई थी जिसमें भी वो रैप करते हैं. He plays a governor of California where he keeps rapping.
मुझे याद नहीं लेकिन हो सकता है. सब एक्टर करते हैं. इस जमाने में सारे करते हैं. बहुत लोगों ने मुझे पहले कहा कि गाना चाहिए तो गाने का फ़ायदा क्या, लेकिन ये मौका था रैप करने का इसलिए कि मैं कैरेक्टर को जानता था और मैंने कैरेक्टर लिखा भी था, पोर्ट्रेट भी किया था, इसलिए मैंने कहा वहीं सही आदमी हूँ तो मैंने लिखा और उसको गाया भी और रैप भी किया और ये पिक्चराइज भी किया.
देव साहब, ये फिल्म जो आपने बनाई है ये सिंक साउंड पे बनाई है कि बाद में डब हुई है?
बाद में डब की.
और जहाँ तक के एडिटिंग का प्रश्न है, it's been edited on an AVID.
मैं खुद ही करता हूँ. My whole script is in the edited form. I have a complete shooting script in my mind as a writer, as a director, which I go on the location and shoot, and I don't waste. Very precise, very professional.
When you directed your first film was I think Prem Pujari. उसमें वहीदा रहमान जी भी थी और जनाब काफी अन्य लोग भी थे, प्रेम चोपड़ा भी थे उसमें, और
उसमें प्रेम था, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा, लेकिन प्रेम हरे राम कृष्ण में था प्रेम.
लेकिन that was your first film,
Prem Pujari was my first
directorial venture, and it was a lovely film. I loved the film.
Yeah, it was on the conflict of Indo-Pakistan in 1965.
Khemkaran sector के ऊपर थी
sector, and all the films that I made, directed, written are very contemporary in thought. The things that I
तो तब से और अभी तक फिल्म मेकिंग में फर्क क्या है? जब
कोई फर्क नहीं है. फिल्म मेकिंग में कोई फर्क नहीं है. वही शॉट है, वही कैमरा है, वही सेल्यूलॉइड है, वही कहानी है, वही रिलेशनशिप्स हैं, वही सोल है. थोड़ा ग्लिटर ज़्यादा आ गया है, लेंसेज बेटर आ गए हैं, साउंड बेटर हो गई है, ऑडियंस ज़्यादा हो गई है, कंपटीशन ज़्यादा आ गया है, सैटेलाइट आ गया है, टीवी आ गया है, धूम धड़ाका ज़्यादा है. अदरवाइज फिल्म मेकिंग इज द सेम brain. You need a brain to do a script. You need the same brain to shoot a film. Every film has a rhythm of 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So the technique is the same. Thinking is the same. Same dynamism, same thoughts, same creativity. There's no difference at all.
In terms of shot division, in terms
Except globalize हो गया है.
जी.
और आपका competition दुनिया के साथ है, जिसका मजा है. और competition से quality आती है.
But in terms of technique, in terms of technology,
same. हमारी नफ के दिन कोई भी फिल्म देख लो, दुनिया ने हमेशा कहा है कि ये दुनिया के आगे चलते हैं हमेशा. आज कोई भी हमने 39 पिक्चर्स बनाई हैं.
जी, 39 फिल्म.
Starting from अफसर टू बाजी टू हरे राम एंड टू गाइड एंड टू जूल थीफ. हर फिल्म मॉडर्न है, हर फिल्म की मॉडर्न टेक्निक है, हर फिल्म आपको लगेगी जमाने से आगे है, और कभी कोई फिल्म आपको आउटडेटेड और स्लो टेम्पो की नहीं लगेगी.
जी. In fact, if we go back, just I must tell you, this is for the audience, this is for our viewers, all those viewers who are watching us all over the world. Incidentally, sir, this interview is going all over the world. It goes.
It is. It's
I'm
so glad.
From people are watching us at the moment.
Naturally, when you are doing, yes.
From Australia right up to Africa to Eritrea near Ethiopia.
That,
it's going right all over the place. Just before this interview started, we had a small conversation about guide, and don't be too bothered about the noises which are coming. This is a studio, so. There'll be a lot of people moving about and stuff like that. Now, we were talking about Guide. Guide was वो भी अपने ज़माने के बहुत आगे थी.
Guide was the first international film.
जी.
Processed in America, shot in collaboration with the late Pearl Buck, who was the Nobel laureate, based on a novel by RKB
जी.
Shot in 2 versions, English, and then in Hindi, which was not the English Guide. We had to change the complete concept and the script to suit the ethos and the sensibilities of the Indian mind.
और हम अपने दर्शकों की जानकारी के लिए बताते हैं, Pearl Buck जिनकी बात करी अभी देव साहब ने, The Mother उनकी किताब थी जिसके
The Good Earth,
उसके बाद Mother, उसके बाद 3-4 चीजें थी. She won the Nobel Prize, The Good Earth.
It was an Oscar-winning film also.
Lin Yutang, in fact, essayed the role of.
Paul Mooney got an Oscar.
That's right. The lead character was Lin Yutang. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it was an amazing film also. Did you see the film?
Great film.
Did you see The Good Earth?
I was in college. It was a great film.
Right. So, what is it like working with Pearl?
I felt big. I learned. A super intellectual, very cool, calm, good writer.
Why did you think of Pearl Buck? I tell you what, because that's something that I've always wanted to ask you ever since I was a kid. Because Pearl Buck was very good at China, not India.
No, but Pearl Buck came to India looking for an actor to do a role in a film. They wanted to shoot in English, and they met almost everybody, and they met me, and they said, "Why don't you join us for an international film?" And they gave me a book which I did not like, and I said, "If I go to America for a film, it has to be on my terms." Being a very big star here, there's no reason why I can't be a big star in America as well. So we waited until the time I hit upon the Guide. And I said, "This is the book. Are you interested?" He said, "Come over to America." I went to America. They read the book, just being performed off break. Then I called RKB from Los Angeles, and I bought the rights, and then Guide was produced. And I did both the parts.
And that was, sorry to say this, I mean, one should be saying this on television, but all the same, one hell of a thing to do at that time, wasn't it? I mean, at that time, nobody had ever thought of doing it.
It was a mad thing to do. Shooting the same film twice again, all over again, from 2 different scripts. And people were calling me mad. Dev पागल हो गया है, ये सारा अपना पैसा बर्बाद कर रहा है, इसको साधु बना दिया, एक रोमांटिक इमेज है इसकी, अंत में मरवा दिया, मेरी पिक्चर बिकने रही थी. And now people, Guide is an eternal picture. Guide is an all-time film. Wherever I go, I've met people who've seen it 35, 40 times. Can you beat it?
I must have seen it about 50 times.
That's it. So, this is Dev Anand.
That's right.
I believe in experiments.
But you've been mad all your life, isn't it? People have called you mad all your life.
I think you have to have a streak of madness in you to be able to achieve something outstanding. An average man can't do it. You have to be mad. That's why many times you go under also. People don't understand you. But when they do, you create a trend for years and years and years and years to come.
When Prem Pujari didn't do all that well, what happened to you? What did you do?
I braced myself. I got a shock. I was attending the marriage ceremony of King Birendra, who got assassinated in Nepal. I got the news from Bengal that the film has been removed at the point of the gun. Because people did not like the Red Guard angle in it. And I said, I was a little flustered, but then I composed myself. And then I tried to meet Mr. Y.B. Chavan, who was the Home Minister. He couldn't do anything about it. And I forgot about it. And then I hit upon Hare Rama, Hare Krishna in Nepal.
Which was amazing.
So I come back.
Incredible.
Come back. You can't hang on to your sorrows all the time. Then you're dead. It's such a business.
But at that time, you were doing a whole lot of other things besides. आप फिल्में बना रहे थे, फिल्म प्रोड्यूस भी कर रहे थे, साथ में दूसरों की फिल्मों में एक्ट भी कर रहे थे. How did you manage all that?
Jewel Thief तक मैंने बाहर की फिल्मों में काम किया है. After Jewel Thief, it is not possible. Because when you're writing, conceiving a thought, doing a screenplay, you're behind the camera, you're in front of the cameras. It's 15, 16 hours a day. I gave up outside assignments as an actor.
Wasn't Johnny Mera Naam also?
Big hit again.
That's right.
Yeah. And amazing, because my brother Goldie did the Guide, Goldie did Johnny Mera Naam. 2 diametrically opposite themes. Fantastic. That was a big hit. The Guide was a spiritual one, a very big spiritual high.
I tell you what, since we're talking about this, and I promise our viewers, we'll come back to Mr. Prime Minister in just a moment, because that's what we really come to talk about. I know Mr. Dev Anand gets very, very irritated if we keep talking about what took place earlier. You know, he's the sort of chap who talks about what's going to happen 50 years later. Now,
the pace is so fast.
One of my own favorite films, in fact, favorite film of the entire family, is a film called Tere Ghar Ke Samne.
Beautiful film, yeah.
And that too was directed by Goldie. It was an amazing film. They don't make comedies like that anymore. Why don't they do that?
Because Goldie and I made a good combination. There was tremendous understanding, great rapport between the two of us. Yeah. Goldie's best films have been enough cases for me, with me. I think we made a great team, yes, that's for sure. And Goldie was not willing to do the Guide. But then once he jumped into it, he did some dynamic work.
क्योंकि वो अगर तेरे घर के सामने की बात करें या गाइड की बात करें या जॉनी मेरा नाम की बात करें, जिस भी शहर की बात हो रही है उस शहर का फ्लेवर आता है फिल्म में. जैसे
आना भी चाहिए, अगर नहीं आता तो फिल्म बेकार है.
जी, जैसे
लोग बाहर चले जाते हैं.
तेरे घर के सामने आप बात कर रहे हैं, ये औरंगजेब रोड, पृथ्वीराज रोड, अकबर रोड की वो जमीन जो है पृथ्वीराज रोड वाली, उसके कोने में जो प्लॉट है ना,
वही लगना चाहिए. फिल्म की खूबसूरती यही है कि जहाँ फिल्म की सेटिंग है, फिल्म वहीं शूट करनी चाहिए. और 2-4 गानों के लिए किसी लोकेशन पर चलेगा उसका फायदा नहीं है. It's stupid. Lot of people do it and they also hit out, but I think it's a stupid thing to do. Every film has its own backdrop and you must go to that backdrop. And shooting on location is something fantastic. With the people participating. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Thousands of people participate in Kathmandu. Even this Mr. Prime Minister.
That's right, you just told us. So many people have participated in this film and Mr. Prime Minister as well. उसके बाद आपकी फिल्म आई एक देश परदेश. जिस तरीके से हमने गाइड में एक, we can't really call it extramarital, but post-marital.
Very bold.
It was very, very bold.
It happens, but people are scared.
It happens. People do stray. In Prem Pujari, you took you talked about the 1965 war, the Khemkaran sector, and what happened to villages right at the border. In Hare Rama Hare Krishna, you talked about the drugs problem and how young people are taking to drugs. And then, in Desh Pradesh, you talked about illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration. All the films that I have conceived are the films which is offbeat in subject matter, in themes, absolutely. Out of the newspapers headlines. Because this is my trend of mind. I read, I travel,
and look at the number
I pick up a thought and I get hung on that.
Look at the number of girls that have been there in your life on film. You've introduced so many lovely faces. You've portrayed them so beautifully. It's amazing. Yeah. And by the way, one of my other films, of course, is Hira Panna. That is another very bold film.
Again, a photographer, a model, and
an air hostess.
An air hostess. Three of them. All modern characters.
And like Gary Cooper, you ride off into the sunset.
Can you beat it? Yeah. Very poetic. Very poetic, yeah. Leaves his past behind.
Did you ever get to watch? Do you still watch any of the old classics?
No, my own films.
I'm not talking about your own films. I'm talking about the old westerns. Do you still get?
I don't, because I don't find the time. I think it's a waste of time, unless you do want to see for certain reasons. Because I'm moving forward all the time. I'm doing my scripts.
Which was a great film that you watched recently, which was made by somebody else, not by you. Any good film that you watched recently? Some film that you might have watched?
I do watch some portions of films on television shown, but I think in totality I watched a film a couple of years ago called Lagan, because the director took me to the theatre and I watched it in toto. Yes. Otherwise you don't have the time, though I should watch all the films that do run just to find out what they're running. But then you all know what it's all about. You're in the business. The strong imagination that you carry all the time.
Has there been anyone who's really influenced you? It used to be said that you used to take after Gregory Peck.
People said so, I never said so. I hate to be called Gregory Peck. Now, earlier days you never know, because earlier days everybody has a hero in the younger days when you're in the
They say that you try to copy Gregory Peck's mannerisms because of the late Suraiya ji. Is that true?
Because Suraiya was in love with him. That's what people said so. And I was new. I was modeling myself. I was shaping myself. I was discovering myself.
You know, the slight shake of the head, that broad-shouldered walk, that drawl.
It wasn't deliberate. Maybe subconscious as those days, but I got out of it because it's important to get out of it when you have your own style of things. You all yourself. That's important. So I should be a leader. Why should I be a follower? Yeah.
But Suraiya had a great influence on your life. She was a lovely
I think
person,
every girl that you're in touch with emotionally or otherwise leaves an impression on your life. Why not? Because everybody that you meet leaves an impression on your life, and you keep on learning all the time. Anybody should or would.
Who's had the maximum influence in your life? Apart from yourself.
Now listen to me. I have answered this question many times. When you're a child, your parents. When you're growing, your teachers. When you're in college, your professors. I came from a very great college, Government College Lahore.
That's right.
And then the entire humanity which I crossed. I tramped the streets, I went on the buses, I went by trains, and I rubbed shoulders with the entire world. And every human being in the world gave me something or the other to learn from.
From Gurdaspur to Lahore to Bombay. And
Bombay then, Mumbai now.
Now Mumbai. And you went back to Lahore as well, isn't it?
After 55 years in the bus ride with the great Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
लेकिन संडे का रोज था, छुट्टी का दिन था, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज बंद था.
मुझे चैनल वहाँ ले गया था और कॉलेज वैसे ही है, वैसे ही प्रिंसिपल का कमरा था जहाँ से मैं बाहर निकला था सर्टिफिकेट देने के बाद. लड़के आने शुरू हो गए थे, उनको पता चल गया था. I started meeting them, but they were in a hurry to take me back. It was a great feeling, fantastic feeling. And I could have stayed because Lahore is my town. Lahore is a place where I grew, where my early education is, my roots. And I like to go back to Pakistan. I like to go back to Lahore, just for the sake of seeing what transformation it has gone through after I left Lahore, after the partition. And there's no reason why a good, great film can't be made in Pakistan by Dev Anand on a tremendously human angle, without any propaganda in it. This is my place which I remember. My hometown is Gurdaspur. which is again the border town between India and Pakistan.
Ji.
Some tehsils are in Pakistan, some tehsils are in India.
Ji.
But when the partition took place, 1947, I was a star. I just got my break in 45. But after that, never went. But I keep on hearing all about it. At the 140th anniversary of the college, they invited me and accepted to go, but I couldn't make it. But I will go one of these days.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And for those of you who came in late, in terms of the fact that those of us who, were born much, much later, I know Mr. Dev Anand feels as if he's just 16 years old, but actually he's not.
No. You're pulling a leg. Why not? Why not? If I feel 16 years old,
absolutely wonderful. That's the way to go.
I'm that business.
Government College Lahore was considered one of the most elite colleges in the country. It was the Harvard of India. It was the Harvard of British India. That's where Mr. Dev Anand got his education. And Dev Anand Sahab, aapke pitaji, he was a very successful advocate.
Very fine lawyer.
He was a very fine lawyer, wasn't he?
Great scholar. Thanks to his mind, his brain, his erudite education. I think he knew Persian, Arabic, Hebrew. He taught me the Bible. He taught me the Sanskrit, the Gayatri Mantra. I think by early beginnings, when you asked me a question, who's your influence? I was my father, then my older brother, who came from England after the ICS, and then my college, and then the people around me. And even now, everybody that I meet gives me something or the other, and I keep learning.
He gave a great education to all the boys, isn't it? All the boys were very well taught.
He was known in the district for giving the best possible education to his kids.
And I think you had a big advantage over everybody else.
No, I think
who came in over here, or perhaps at that time times were different. If you look at the other people who were also with you at that time, Raj Kapoor Saab, Yusuf Saab,
he was in Bombay already when I first came. I came to struggle. They were already here.
They were already here because they came from families that had already settled here in Bombay. देखा जाए तो उस वक्त के जितने भी बड़े स्टार रहे, तकरीबन हर एक कोई बड़ा पढ़ा लिखा था. Everybody had read the classics, everybody had read a lot of theatre, everybody had read Henrik Ibsen, everybody had read Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, हर एक ने सब कुछ पढ़ा हुआ था. That trend is coming back, I think. I think people
the
are
world
coming
is
back.
Closer. The world is closer. I think it's a very small world. I think it's good to be knowledgeable. It's very important. I think this country, everybody should be knowledgeable. And imagine this country who is tremendously knowledgeable. Everybody, this is going to be a great country. What you lack is eradication of illiteracy in this country.
You are one person who's always put his money where his mouth is. I remember when the Janata Party was breaking up, you were one person who actually led a team of film stars and other people and said, why don't we form a party of our own? Why don't we actually go out there among the people and tell them what democracy is all about?
The movie industry pushed me because I spoke against emergency. I was the first man.
And for which you suffered.
And the emergency broke and then the Janta came into power. We supported the Janta. And the Janta fell because Janta fell in 3 years. Because they were all interested in their own self-interest and not interested in looking after the interests of the country. So we in the movie industry who had supported the Janta, they got angry. And they formed the party and they made me the president. And then I had a dream. I'm writing a book and there's a great chapter on that. But again, there was no time to fight the elections. 6 weeks is no time to fight the elections.
That's right.
And I realized it's hell of a cold-blooded business, politically, politics. So I think I'm much better here. I'm like a lord and master of my own being, making films, planning films, conceiving films, saying something that I want to say to my country, like this particular movie. So I belong to the country. I don't belong to a political party. It's much better this way because my loyalties are not divided. I belong to everybody, cutting across all political barriers and castes and creeds, right from the lowest man to the man of the highest pedestal. That's me.
In the entire film industry, you are known as the man who is very stylish.
Am I?
Very upbeat, very with it. हर समय
I'm with the times.
जी.
Yes.
हर समय जब भी किसी माशाल्लाह पढ़े लिखे नौजवान का रोल किसी को करना होता था तो आप ही को चूज किया जाता था. इसके पीछे क्या बात है, क्यों?
शायद मेरी पर्सनैलिटी ही ऐसी थी. जब मैं नया यहाँ आया था तो लाहौर से आया था, बी ऑनर्स करके आया था, पढ़ा लिखा था और अकेला था. मेरे पास कोई सर्टिफिकेट तो था नहीं, लेकिन जो कि मेरी पढ़ाई लिखाई मेरे पास थी, आई हैड ट्रेमेंडस कॉन्फिडेंस. And I think because of that, I had that type of a personality, and I was given a role, and I was just myself. Because I was just myself, people seemed to like me. So I hung on to my personality.
There was another lovely film that you made with Madhubala. It was called Kala Pani.
Kala Pani. It was my own Navketan picture.
It was based on a novel by A.J. Cronin, if I remember correctly, Beyond This Place.
Beyond This Place.
That was the name of the book, wasn't it? It was quite a great film for its time.
It was a good picture. It brought me my first Filmfare Award. And I think we made it, and it did very, very well.
It did beautifully well.
It did very well. Yeah.
और अभी भी उसके गाने अभी तक बजते हैं.
बहुत अच्छे गाने थे, बहुत अच्छे गाने.
जी. How was Madhubala to work with? Madhubala ji, how was she to work?
Madhubala was a great, innocent little girl, a giggler. She used to laugh and laugh and laugh. At no reason at all. Suddenly the shot is on, and she would start laughing, and you have to switch off the camera. And give a break for 15-20 minutes. And a good-looking girl, and
very good-looking,
clean girl, a real Pathan, and a girly type of girl. Not very well educated, but she had her own sixth sense and a little intelligence on her own.
Your pairing with Wahida ji clicked quite a lot. She was.
Wahida,
you look very good together.
Wahida and I in CID. That was the first debut in the Hindi films. Gurudat brought her from Andhra Pradesh, and that was the first film. And then we repeated her in a film called Kala Bazaar, which we did.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when the guide's casting was being made, I recommended her to Pearl Buck. I said, "This is the girl."
और Kala Bazaar में तीनों भाई आप थे film में.
Chetan, Goldie, myself.
Chetan, of course, plays the lawyer in the end,
yeah.
and Goldie was there too as the boy who goes off to England and ditches Wahida Rehman.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes. It's a good picture on Kala Bazaar. And
that was another great film, and that was also another very, very contemporary subject on black marketing in tickets and stuff like that.
It was very innovative. I think people loved it, because then we shot the premiere of Mother India, and the stars were arriving, and I was selling tickets to them, and the cameras were on right on top of the shops. And Goldie would give me a signal from a long distance, and I would just go and saunter when the shot was on and be in front of the stars.
जब Mother India के premiere के वक्त आपने, that's not a mock-up, is it? That's the real scene.
Real scene. We captured Mother India's premiere with all the stars arriving in the limousines.
मतलब सभी
and I was with my gang of black marketeers selling tickets.
Nargis ji,
and I knew where the camera was on, and I was acting to the camera all the time.
Wow, amazing! Absolutely, I didn't know that.
What real motion,
I didn't know
this
that.
What good motion picture making is at times.
मतलब मदर इंडिया के प्रीमियर के वक्त आप अपनी फिल्म की शूटिंग कर रहे थे, और जहां पर सुनील दत्त जी, राजेंद्र कुमार, जनाब
सब उतरे हैं,
और आप वहां पर टिकट बेच रहे हैं, किरदार का रोल आप कर रहे हैं.
कैमरा कहां होने में मुझे क्या करना है.
Wow, amazing! Absolutely amazing. That was quite innovative. Nobody had ever done this before.
No, still remember it.
Has anyone done this after that?
I don't think so.
I don't think anyone has ever done that.
I don't think so. Not that scene.
Attempted to shoot a film at a premiere.
Yes, but not that scene. No.
That kind of scene, nobody's ever done.
Nobody's done it.
Absolutely amazing. No, one of the films did so well.
Yeah.
The film was really good.
Yes.
It was a great film, except perhaps towards the end, where it got.
Because the court scene was a little anticlimax.
Yeah.
Because they had to explain things in the courtroom, but then the Indian films, this is how they are sometimes.
ये भी देखा गया है कि आपकी सभी फिल्मों में आप म्यूजिक के ऊपर आपने बहुत ध्यान दिया, तकरीबन सभी फिल्मों में.
हमने 35 फिल्में बनाई हैं.
जी.
Starting from Afsar to now, and I think when people ask me define Indian film, I say Indian films cannot be made without music, because music is in the bones, people love it in this country, and why not all over the world? And if you have good music and good song situations, well integrated into the screenplay, outstandingly picturized, I think half the battle is won in terms of box office. So music plays a very important part, and especially me, because I think I have a good sense of music. I pick a finger on a good tune. Like
that's right.
Whether it's S.T. Burman or R.D. Burman or Rajesh Roshan or all the great musicians who composed for me.
I mean, you look at the music of Hare Rama Hare Krishna, it's still going on, it's still going strong, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
और अभी तक वो आप देखें, one of the greatest classics, I feel, one of the greatest duets ever recorded is शोखियों में घोला जाए फूलों का शबाब, प्रेम पुजारी का.
That was Neeraj, and this again S.T. Burman. But Hare Rama Hare Krishna was R.D. Burman.
R.D. Burman, yeah.
And S.D. Burman was a little double-minded about the film. He said, "Dave, why do you want to make a film on a hippie, this relationship?" I said, "Dada, hippies now, it's happening in Nepal. Let me make it." So he started being a little thoughtful and said, "Dada, if you have a little reservation, let me take your son, R.D. Burman, and ask him to do the music." So I took R.D. Burman and I recorded all the 6 songs in about 4 or 5 weeks and took them to Nepal and picturized them, including Dam Maro Dam.
Ji, or Dam Maro Dam, or...
that was great.
That was
and it was
fabulous.
It was shot in the public square of Kathmandu, which was the most popular square with thousands of people watching.
Or Tere Mere Sapne was also another lovely experiment.
Tere Mere Sapne also.
Life of a Doctor.
It was again, we picked up from Citadel.
Cronan's and Citadel. The Citadel, that's right.
We went to a coal mining area in Madhya Pradesh to shoot the climax.
Yeah, Cronin seems to have been one of your favorite authors, isn't it?
It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence because that was a good book. Because this book, Kalapani, was suggested by somebody, and I fell in love with it because it was sheer cinema, beautiful scenes in it.
It was Dr. A.J. Cronin, you know that, of course.
Yes.
He was a medical practitioner who used to write novels as well.
But
all right, now coming back to your films after Desh Pradesh, Swami Dada आपने बनाई, 100 करोड़ आपने बनाई, हम नौजवान आपने बनाई,
सेंसर
जी ना, इन सेंसर भी बनाई है, सेंसर तो आपने गुस्से में बनाई।
देखो मेरी बात सुनो, मुझे मालूम आप क्या कहने वाले हैं कि आपकी फिल्म इतनी चली नहीं है।
मैं ये नहीं
मेरी बात सुनो।
जी बताएं।
Who's Dev Anand? There comes a stage in an artist's life when he's done so many roles and become a superstar and wants to branch off and say something on his own which the world is not saying, and he's picking up thoughts and giving those thoughts to the world, and the chances are he'll go under because they'll be high flown, they'll go over the heads of people. But unless you take chances, well, why the hell are you a creative artist?
That's right, which is absolutely true.
Censor, I walked out of the censor board after showing Masola Barasti, and they were stupid in certain cuts, and I got angry, and I planned the film in the car. I said, I'm going to make a film on the censor, expose the entire working of the censorship in this country, the pros and the cons, and I made a film called Censor. Nobody else would have made it, and I knew it had a very limited audience, but that's me. If at a certain stage, if I owe responsibility to my society and my country and myself, my conscience, to put across a few ideas as a motion picture maker, I think I should do it. I should not hesitate.
Now,
which many people don't, because when they plan their films, this thing called box office comes into their mind, and box office nobody knows. And box office is important, because without box office, how can you proceed further? You must have money to make a motion picture. It's hell of a business. It's a very expensive business to make a motion picture.
That's right, it is.
Not everybody can do it.
But Swami Dada was a very nice film. It was a lovely film. Swami Dada.
Of course.
It was a lovely film. I remember it was a very lovely film.
Tremendous climax.
Ji.
And great performances.
Great performances,
yeah.
Including by Naseeruddin Shah.
Absolutely.
They were fantastic.
When he sees the crescent and the Om and the Jesus Christ cross falling, and he has the gun to shoot the man, and suddenly the crescent comes in front of the barrel and he just cannot shoot. A great moment. Very, very good film. I'm happy. So the film that I've given to the world, I'm the happiest man, because I've given thoughts to the world, and thoughts are flying, and they'll be seen for decades and decades and decades. कहीं ना कहीं कोई ना कोई वो फिल्म देख रहा होगा और सोच रहा होगा ये भी नई बात थी, ये भी नई बात थी, ये भी नई बात थी. तो मैं अगर इस स्टेज पर अगर नई बात नहीं कहूँगा और नहीं करूँगा तो मैं फिर देव आनंद क्या हुआ? मैंने 60 बरस क्यों बिताए? It's very, very important. I have an opportunity to make this statement today. I mean, nobody else could have conceived. Nobody else could have conceived, Mr. Prime Minister. I conceived it because the hung parliament took place, and it took me a second to think of a plot, because I've seen this country grow in terms of independence right from 1947. And 1947 to 2004, when the elections took place, I've seen the entire era. And I said, this is my film. And I did the script in 25 days. I went to Bachao, shot it on location 40 days, did some interiors, went to Italy for just one sequence, went to London at the airport for one sequence, and the movie is ready. And I'm excited. I want the world to see it and pass a comment. And this is what I think it's in their minds. It's absolutely in their minds what I'm trying to say to the world.
Right.
In terms of my own critical scene in the country.
Mr. Prime Minister is the story of a man who loses his memory, who stands for election, loses
He's
his
made to
memory.
stand.
Right, and his memory also comes back.
He comes back because of the evil of politicians. And once he knows who he is, and he's already elected, at that moment there's no government in the country. It's 20 days caretaker. Nobody knew who the Prime Minister would be. And he's in the position to form a government and be the Prime Minister. This is my climax. I don't want to reveal it.
Right. He's Prem Batra.
He's Prem Batra.
Wonderful.
One of the richest guys in the world. Otherwise, he's another guy. Because he gets buried in 2001. For 3 days he's buried underneath. When he comes out, he doesn't know who he is. That's his conflict. There's a conflict. But man about town, he says beautiful things. And opposition kidnaps him after he's elected, and they torture him. And once he gets to know who he is, he buys the kidnappers, and then the BBC, CNN, they are all after him. And then this is my climax. This is what they did. This in the climax, I say what I want to say in the film about this country and its political scene.
You obviously think a lot about the country. You obviously think a lot about this country.
No, like you do, everybody does.
Right.
I just come out of this because I'm living in this country. I read the newspapers, I read you, I read all the editors, I read the comments. I'm a very aware man. I'm not a politician, but I know the political scene. I'm an educated man, I should, because I'm the guy who votes. Therefore, I want everybody in this country to be like me, to be able to know who they should vote for and why.
In terms of where this country is going, considering the fact that you've made a politically telling film, it's Mr. Prime Minister is, after all, in the end, a political film. It has a political comment. Where do you think this country is going?
Politically?
In every way possible. You see young people today.
Explain, I'll tell you. When it comes to an Indian mind, the supreme, Indians are fantastic in terms of brain, emotion, in terms of integrity, in terms of spiritualism, in terms of hard work. When I joined the movies in 1945, lots of unemployed Indians left the shores of this country to go abroad and settle down. And I go there after 50 years. They celebrated my golden jubilee all over the world. And they were billionaires, Indians. This is the Indian mind. So nobody can beat India. But if the Indian political scene is a little better, and there's not much of multi-party system, this country can go and touch heavens. And this is my firm conviction, absolutely firm conviction as an educated man. When the independence came, we were young, very young. Today I've matured, I've grown, I analyze, I dissect, I think.
You think you've grown?
Grown from that point of view. Otherwise, I'm just like a child. I react like
Absolutely.
I react like a child. If I don't react like a child, I won't be making my pictures. I won't feel young. And I got to feel young to be able to make my motion pictures, because this motion picture industry belongs to the young people. If I feel old inside, I have no business to make movies.
Right.
But my maturity, my childlike innocence, my maturity of thinking with years of experience at my back, that's why this picture.
Right. Now, you are one man I know that as soon as a film gets released, जैसे ही फिल्म का प्रीमियर हो जाता है, फिल्म सिनेमा हॉल में चली जाती है, आप अपने अगले प्रोजेक्ट पर शुरू हो जाते हैं.
It has to be like that. It goes to the world. Why should I bother about it?
Mr. Prime Minister के बाद अब आगे क्या?
मेरी एक फिल्म प्लान है, जिसको छोड़ के मैंने उसको प्लान किया था. उसका नाम है ब्यूटी क्वीन. Again, a very young picture.
माशाल्लाह, Beauty Queen. That was again.
It's an international ramp. It's by tribute to women in the world.
Inspired by Indians winning the Miss Universe and Miss World contest.
Inspired by a thought that women are exploited by man. It's a hell of a thought, and it's on international ramps. And I got a new cast again in it. It's a great subject, and I postponed that to
make Mr. Prime Minister,
because this was new, it's contemporary, it was happening, it's still happening.
Wonderful. Now, in terms of making your films, it's always been found you always take young people with you. Your cast always consists usually of some young people.
Depends from what age group I need as characters. But why not? I think the young people, they gel more than people who set their ideas, and they cannot be changed. Because I think young mind is fertile mind. Young mind is dashing. Young mind wants to learn, wants to achieve, wants to reach a lamppost. And you can take them.
Do you ever
take them on a flight of imagination.
Mr. Dev Anand, do you ever get tired at all?
When I'm working, I'm not tired. When I'm writing, I'm not tired. It's a fact. I did my script for Mr. Prime Minister in 25 days.
25 दिनों में स्क्रिप्ट लिखा आपने?
कहने का मतलब ये था उन 25 दिनों में मुझे होश नहीं थी कि मैं क्या खा रहा हूँ, कब खा रहा हूँ, कब सो रहा हूँ, किसके साथ बात कर रहा हूँ, मेरे राइट में कौन है, मेरे पीछे कौन आगे, वरना काम होता नहीं है. 15-16 घंटे का काम है. सो अगर ये फिल्म लोगों को पसंद है, आएगी, क्यों नहीं आएगी, थॉट खूबसूरत है, पसंद आएगी, तो क्या मुझे कितनी रूहानी ताकत और खुशी मिलेगी जो शायद बिलियंस एंड बिलियंस एंड बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स से भी कम नहीं है. ये फैक्ट है. This is why I live. That's why I'm there. Believe me, it's a fact, because I see my people who've seen me over the last 6 decades still growing, and I've seen them. I visualize them when I do my scripts.
Right, and once again, just to remind our viewers, Mr. Prime Minister is being released on the 29th of the month. 28th, of course, is the premiere at Ahmedabad.
29th is the premiere.
29th is the premiere.
30th is the release.
30th is the release, my mistake. 29th is the premiere at Ahmedabad. 30th is the release. 29th is the premiere, and we'll be there to show you exactly what happens. Do remember, it's a kind of a radical film, but then every one of Dev Anand's films are radical films. However, since we really have come to the last part of the interview, it would be really unfair of me if I were to skip the part about Mr. Dev Anand's brothers. Dev's up, you miss your brothers.
Very, very much.
Both are gone now.
If ever I cried for anybody, that was my younger brother.
Goldie?
Goldie. Because when he was taken to the hospital, I wasn't aware. When I went to the hospital, he was in coma. And he and I had great partnership, creative partnership.
Gee.
And when I came down the steps, having seen his dead body covered, and the saffron tikka on his head, and flowers and white sheets on his body, I was lighting the steps, and the barrage of cameramen, they pounced upon me. I just cried like a child, which I'd never done before. Even though my eyes are damp. And my older brother also, who was my idol, because he was 10 years older. He was my model. He was in government college. He went to England in those days. And I modeled my complete style upon him. Even he left. But it doesn't matter. It's a part of life. Everybody has got to go. So they were creative.
Very creative.
Very creative. And my brother was, older brother was my teacher. My younger brother grew in the family of motion picture makers, and he became a dynamic director. So I lost him as well, but it doesn't matter. So I'm carrying on with the torch. But then at the later stage in life, when he was on his own, he got a little, he probably missed me. He missed working with me.
Gee.
But it happens in life all the time. You want to go your own way.
Everybody grows up.
Your destiny leads you somewhere. It's destined for you.
What about Sunil? What about your son?
My son is equally, I think, more brilliant than I am. Because he was educated in America, I was educated in Gurdaspur, and then in a convent in Dalhousie. He knows much more about things, what's happening in the world than I do, because he's in touch with the technology, he's in touch with the latest. And he's also in the motion picture business. He's made his pictures, he's looking after the studio, he wants to plan his own film. And I wish him well. I'm his father, I should wish him well.
आनंद और आनंद में आप सुनील को भी लेकर आए थे.
I cast him for the first time.
जी, लेकिन सुनील ने शायद ये तय कर लिया कि वो आगे नहीं फिल्म करेंगे.
नहीं, तय नहीं किया उसने.
जी.
उसने फिर फिल्म बनाई थी जूल थीफ, कार थीफ, अमेरिका में गया था.
जी.
फिर मेरे भाई साहब ने बनाई थी उसके लिए. फिर इसने एक और फिल्म में काम किया. अभी कुछ करना चाहता है. तो मेरी ब्लेसिंग्स तो हैं उसके पास. मैंने उसके लिए फिल्म प्लान इसलिए नहीं की है कि लोग ये कहेंगे घड़ी घड़ी अपने बेटे को आगे कर रहा है. लेकिन अगर उसमें दम है और वो जरूर चाहेगा, करेगा तो बहुत अच्छा है. नहीं तो बहुत सी चीज़ें हैं इंडस्ट्री के अंदर इंसान कर सकता है. And he's a wonderful boy, he's a brilliant boy. He's got good brains, speaks well, writes well. What else do you need? He can look after himself.
When you look back, I know you never look back, but all the same, we're asking you to look back now, since we really have entered the last 5 minutes.
I have looked back. I've done a book.
Right, I know. Now, if you were to look back, what would you say was the defining moment of your life? As a filmmaker and as a person of the cinema, what would you call your
defining moments? I'll tell you. The first defining moment when I decided to come to Bombay to be a star.
You wanted to be a star?
Automatic.
Right.
If I had not accepted it, if I had not decided, that moment would be there.
What made
I
you
decided?
Decide? You know, we talk, everybody's heard about this again and again. And what made you decide? Because your brother was already here, he was acting in IPTA, he was here.
No. I had done my honors in English, and I wanted to go for my masters in English. My father's fortunes were dwindling at that time, and he said, "Beta, abhi paisa nahi hai, college kyun jate ho? Kyun MA karte ho?" Then there was a tremendous conflict within me, and I closed my eyes, and I was shaving. And when I opened my eyes, I looked at my face, and I said, "I'm not badly presentable. Why can't I be in the movies and be a star?" I decided, and I had 30 rupees in my pocket.
30 rupees.
I did not tell anybody. I boarded the Frontier Mail, third-class compartment, and I landed at Bombay Central. And 2 years of struggle. When I came to Bombay, it was 1943. No Indian independence. 45, I got my break, hardly 20 years old. No independence at that moment. 47, the independence came. Because I was educated. I was learning all the time. So I kept on growing. I'm still growing, and I feel...
All right, there was one defining moment. Which was the next one?
Next one was when I decided to make my own pictures, because after the guide, after Jewel Thief, there were no roles left. People were making the same types of movies all over again. They were scared of box office, the so-called thing called box office.
So everybody was making what used to be called formula films.
Formula films, and nobody knows the formula.
That's
formula
right.
happens. Then people start chasing it, because they're stupid fools. They start making remakes. They turn bankrupt. I said, no, I know. I can write. I've traveled the world. People know me. Wherever I go, they recognize me. I'm getting more and more enlightened. I can write. I wanted to write and make my own films. And I switched over, took a decision to direct my films. That's the defining moment. And I made my first film, Prem Pujari.
Ji.
Then Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And then on and on.
And then Ishq, Ishq, Ishq. That was another great film.
Because again, Kathmandu was in Hare Rama, Hare Krishna.
Ji.
And Ishq was in high mountains of 14,000 feet, from where you could see Thang Boche and all the 4 tallest mountains of the world from that spot. Nobody else could dare do this. It's fantastic filming, absolutely. Motion picture making is an adventure. It is an adventure. It's an adventure in spending money. It's an adventure with the thoughts. It is an adventure of a great dream. You've thrown a dream to the world, and the world is catching that dream, and the feeling that people have watched your dream and they're watching you now is hell of a feeling. It's hell of a feeling. You can't realize that unless you become me. Because I conceive, I write, I throw an idea, and I'm watching very quietly in a lonely corner as to what the world is saying and talking about the picture. It's hell of a feeling. Only I know what it is. You're creative, you're a writer. If you do a book, you're writing articles, and next morning you get up and you get a spate of calls. Rajiv, what an article. Tremendous spiritual happiness. You want to write a better one. You want to edit a paper. You want to own a paper. You want to own an empire, being a great baron. Your ambition keeps on rising. It's a great thing. Exactly what motion picture making is all about.
Did you ever go back to Gurdaspur to take a look?
I went once via Gurdaspur, shooting a film called Bombay Ka Babu. I went to Kulu.
Ji.
And the whole city turned up to see me. Then I went on the death of my brother. It's very sad. I was on the cremation ground. Then I keep on getting calls. When I went to Amritsar on a flight to Wagah with the past Prime Minister Atalji passed right to Pakistan. I landed in Amritsar and Gurdaspur, I remember, 35 miles away, and the member of Parliament, Dev Anand, we miss our son in Gurdaspur. I said, this on cards. I'm going to be there one of these days. I don't know when. There are a lot of things on my mind. There are a lot of things on the agenda.
You want to say something to your people in Gurdaspur? You want to say something to them in Punjabi? You want to say that? You can say hello to them?
मैं उनसे ये कहना चाहता हूँ भाई अभी हिंदी बोलो आदत पड़ गई हिंदी बोलने की मुझे अमृतसर ने इनवाइट किया है 8 को वो मुझे डॉक्टरेट देना चाहते हैं गुरु नानक यूनिवर्सिटी में मैं जाना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन वहाँ फ़्लाइट नहीं है, जाने का इंतज़ाम बहुत, मेरा प्रोग्राम बहुत टेढ़ा है, लेकिन जाऊँगा ज़रूर। और अमृतसर से गुरदासपुर 35 मील है, और मैं एक दिन तक ज़रूर जाऊँगा और आराम से जाऊँगा, आँखें बंद करके वहाँ की मिट्टी को पकड़ूंगा, कहूँगा भी गॉड ब्लेस एवरीबॉडी इन गुरदासपुर।
देव साहब,
आई बिलोंग हियर।
गुरदासपुर ਦੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਕਿ 3500 ਮੀਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੰਡਨ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ 35 ਮੀਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ,
इसीलिए आई एम टेकिंग इट फॉर ग्रांटेड बिकॉज़ दे आर माइन, क्योंकि मेरे अपने हैं, इसलिए मैं उनको ऐसा कर रहा हूँ
जी।
मेरे पर कोई प्रेशर नहीं है, मुझे इतना प्यार करते हैं कि मैं उनसे बोल सकता हूँ फिर ठहरो यार आता हूँ, वो मेरी बात मानते हैं। You take people who granted, only those people who belong to you, who you love and they love you. I'm taking them for granted, they belong to me.
Dev sir, are you a religious man? Are you do you believe in God?
I don't contradict God, but there's a phenomenon called an unknown phenomenon. I was recently in Tirupati because I was honored in Hyderabad, and the people who honored me, they were very, very godly people, so am I. So they insisted कि आपकी फिल्म की रिलीज है मिस्टर प्राइम मिनिस्टर की, हम चाहते हैं आप हमारे साथ चलो। और मैं गया हूँ वहाँ पे, मुझे एक अजीब शांति से मिली है।
तिरुपति जाते
5-7 दिन की बात है।
क्या बात।
और एट दिस एज, पहले नहीं गया। और लोग कहते हैं तिरुपति वहीं उसी वक्त जाते हो जब
बुलावा आता है।
तो मैं अभी इसको एनालाइज क्यों हम करें, ऐसे मैं क्यों बोलूँ कि मुझे भगवान में विश्वास नहीं है, लेकिन हो सकता है मैं नहीं जाता हूँ इसलिए कि शायद मैं कभी सोचता हूँ तो मैं अपने अंदर भी भगवान देखता हूँ कि मेरे अंदर है, मेरे काम के अंदर है। क्योंकि जब मैं अपना काम करता हूँ तो मुझे अजीब शक्ति सी आती है अंदर से, और मैं काम कर नहीं सकता। जब मैं लिखना शुरू करता हूँ तो आइडिया क्यों आते हैं मुझे, कहाँ से आए थे, कल तो नहीं थे, आज कहाँ से आए हैं, मेरे शायद अंदर की किसी शक्ति ने दी है, वही शक्ति आपका भगवान है। लेकिन हम भगवान को बताने के लिए कि हम आपकी पूजा करते हैं, हम जरूर जाते हैं मंदिर में, और जाना भी चाहिए, अच्छी बात है। India is that country, and I am a part of India, and I am very much an Indian. So I think मैं अभी मैं जाऊँगा, मैं यहाँ भी जाऊँगा, मैं यहाँ सिद्धि विनायक भी जाऊँगा। अब मुझे विश्वास है कि अगर मैं वहाँ गया तो वहाँ क्यों नहीं जाऊँगा।
Right, देव साहब, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका हमसे बात करने के लिए। Thank you very much for inviting me. So nice of you, sir. Thank you very much.
It's been a great interview, and thanks for.
And we're meeting after a very, very long time. Thank you so much for agreeing to appear on the show. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, my honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much.